All right, first thing is there's a little bit of thunder and lightning outside. Hopefully it doesn't come across on the audio, which brings me to my second thing. You may have noticed that I have a new microphone. In a couple videos ago, you guys said that I was very difficult to understand, or at least the subtitles thought I was very difficult to understand. Maybe it's a combination of the way I speak combined with my Australian accent. So I'm going to do my best from now on to speak a little bit more clearly, and I'm hoping that having a better microphone is going to help with that, if it doesn't just make my mumbling sound worse. The next thing I want to talk about is also the background music. Thank you for pointing out, again, in a couple videos ago, that my background music was a little bit too distracting. So we're going to continue from now on with still a little bit of background music, but hopefully just a little bit less distracting. Now, this brings me to my review of... No, I'm joking. It's not going to be that loud. Oh, now it's raining. Hang on, guys. Hang on, guys. All right, apologies for that delay. Hopefully the rain doesn't come through on the audio. Should be fixed. Now, we're going to be talking about the FREEWELL combined NDCPL filter, which is this crazy looking thing. I've been trying it out for about a month now, and I really, really like it. It's actually stayed on my camera for recording pretty much every single outdoor video that I do. The reason I don't use it for indoor videos is obviously because it's a little bit too dark for the settings that I use for my lighting. You can see it'd be a bit too dark if I did that, so we're not doing that. We're just going to roll with nothing for my indoor videos. Before we get too far, I just want to talk about some pros and cons of a combined CPL ND filter. Our first pro of a combined filter is the combinedness of it. It's more efficient in terms of the time it takes you to do things. It's just one filter that you throw in the front of your lens rather than having to worry about stacking multiple and worrying about if you put the CPL first or the ND first or whatever order you're doing it in. It eliminates the need for that because it's already just one piece. That also brings you to the next con, which is it is a space-saving thing and also money-saving as well. It's probably going to be a little bit cheaper to buy a good quality combined filter than it would be to buy two high-quality separate filters. And the other thing is it saves space by just having less gear in your bag. Now, this did come with a bigger case to carry all the bits for it, so you don't have to carry the whole thing. You can just find one little case to put this on, and you can leave it on your lens with the included caps that they come with, which I'll talk a little bit more about later once we get through the rest of these pros and cons. Now, one of the other pros of these is that they help reduce glare and reflections. That's what CPL filters do. They usually polarize light, they do. They polarize the light coming off surfaces such as cars, windows, bodies of water, and it works pretty good for that. And same thing with the ND filter, not the same thing, but it will decrease the exposure of your images, which allows you to get more control over the shutter speed on your camera, especially in bright situations. This is really good for landscape photographers or anyone just looking to have more motion in their photos. Now, you'll have to excuse me, and I do have to apologize because I'm not a landscape photographer, but I did my best to take a landscape photo with a long exposure and water. I had to find something that I could use the full potential of this filter for a photo with. So I went to the beach, very, very bright sunny day. I stuck my tripod on the ground, slapped my new FREEWELL filter onto my 24-70, zoomed all the way out, took this shot, longer exposure. You can see that the CPL aspect of the filter is cutting out the glare from the water, so it's a little bit less shiny. Here's a photo if I have one of it without the polarizing effect, so you can see the glare. And you can also see the effects of the ND filter. It's sort of made the water a bit smoother. Now, before we get too distracted with my experience of this, it's also very, very good if you want to have increased saturation and contrast. That's what the CPL filter is good for. It means you don't have to edit your images as much technically. I still like to edit pretty much every single photo, if not every single photo that I take. So, I mean, it's still good to have that little bit of extra contrast and saturation. It also helps give the feeling of higher dynamic range in that the highlights and shadows have a bit more color and detail in them at the same time, which is something that older cameras aren't as good at, especially compared to some of the new flagship mirrorless cameras that you can get today. So having a filter like this is definitely going to help. Even just a general CPL filter is going to help increase the color and saturation. And that's what one of these definitely helps with. Now, a little bit about vignetting as well. Having a combined filter with 2 or 3 pieces of glass is going to help control vignetting much more than having 2 separate adjustable filters. Generally, an ND filter that's a variable ND filter and a adjustable polarizing filter both have at least two pieces of glass each, which means when you're stacking them, you're getting 4 pieces of glass all interacting on top of all of your lens elements, and you can get some crazy weird effects if you don't do it properly. Having a combined filter reduces the amount of glass that is going through, having a combined filter is going to reduce the amount of glass that the light traveling to your camera's sensor is going through, hopefully resulting in less vignetting. Now I did, obviously, because it is a combined filter, get a little bit, but it would be much less than if I used multiple filters all stacked together. So it's smaller, it's lighter, it's going to be cheaper, gives you a boost of saturation and color and things like that. It also helps reduce lens flare, gives you more control over the motion in the image, as well as reduce the glare of water. I think I may have said that already. Now, some cons for a filter like this. Normally a combined filter will give you less control over the different effects, but this particular filter actually lets you adjust the polarizing aspect of the filter separate to the neutral density aspect of the filter. It has these little tabs on the side. You loosen these off and it lets you adjust only the CPL. And then when you're happy with the polarizing, you tighten these little screws in, and then it lets you adjust the ND aspect of it. Something I didn't mention before is that having a combined filter can be a bit heavier than having a single filter. But I mean, if you're getting a combined filter, you would expect it to be probably double the weight, but it is, I'm sure, a combined filter is probably lighter than having two separate adjustable filters, because this is obviously less glass than having multiple filters all stacked together. We do have the little added little knobs adjuster things on the side, but it doesn't add much weight at all, if any. There is this sort of anodized aluminium structure to it, which is nice and light. It's not the heaviest filter I've held by far. It's not the lightest. I'd say it's a pretty good mid-ground. It's quite sturdy feeling as well, actually. I do quite like the feeling of it. It's got this nice knurling as well. Anyway, back to the cons, because we're supposed to be not getting distracted by things. The final two cons of general combined filters is that they're probably going to be a little bit tricky to remove off the front of the lens, as well as also maybe not compatible with different types of lens hoods. I haven't tried this with any lens hoods. I'm fairly confident that it doesn't work with most of my lens hoods, but the thing that it is very good at is actually coming off the lens. This is a magnetic one. I'll show you how it works. Basically, when you purchase it, you get this extra ring which threads onto the front of your lens in your chosen size. I got the 82mm one. Thank you very much to FREEWELL, by the way, for sending this to me. I forgot to mention that they did send this to me free of charge. They're not paying me to make this video. They're not paying me to say anything. They have never seen this video. In fact, I don't even think they asked me to make a video. They just sent it to me in the hopes that I would make a video. And I did try it for about a month. Hence why I'm making the video, so that you guys can be a bit more informed when you're purchasing something like this. Now, back to the matter at hand. They give you one of these rings which lives on the lens that you choose to use your filter on. And I actually quite like something which they don't advertise. This extra ring that they add to your lens, it is almost like a mini lens hood, which I think is really cool. It doesn't actually show when I'm taking photos, at least at 24mm and beyond. I haven't tested it with anything wider than that. I believe it's metal as well, so it's nice and tough, and it should add a little bit of extra safety to your lens in case you were to drop it. Now, how it attaches is it's just magnetic. It clips on top like this. It's a magnetic attachment, so you literally just grab the lens with the little extra ring on it and it just clips on top. You adjust, as I said, the polarization aspect of it by moving the whole filter, and then you tighten down the sides when your polarization has been chosen. And then when you're happy with that, you just adjust your neutral density with the outer ring, the little black knurled ring. And I think it's quite nice. I have filmed, sorry, there's just some thunder happening outside. I might wait for it to stop. All right, back to what I was saying. I have had this on my 24-70 and filmed all of my short form videos with it outdoors, which is probably 40 to 55 videos in the last 30 days with this filter attached. It has come in very handy. It gives a nice bit of saturation to the sky, which I really like. I would previously use ND filters or CPL filters, and sometimes I would use both, but this means that I can create content outdoors around very reflective surfaces without having too much glare. I get, obviously, as I said, a little bit more saturation in the sky, a little bit more saturation and contrast overall. I think it looks very, very nice. And if you want to check out those videos so you can see what it looks like, not really if you want to watch the videos, but if you just want to see what the filter looks like in a video scenario, you can just head over to my Instagram or my TikTok or Facebook, or just watch my YouTube shorts, because anything outdoors is with that, which is pretty cool. at least anything in the last month or two. Now, I probably should have mentioned this a little bit earlier, but it's a 3 to 7 stop filter, which is pretty usable for pretty much everybody. It's not going to be the lightest filter you can get, so it's probably not very good for indoor use. I'd say it's good for most outdoor use unless it's extremely sunny and you're doing very, very long exposure or bulb photos of maybe landscapes or something like that. Something else I really like about this is they give you a very tough lens cap or filter cap, I guess. So when the filter's on your lens, which is where it's been on mine the whole time, you can just pop this magnetically on top. Now that cap is actually really strong. It's not just going to fly off on you. It's quite difficult to get off, which is actually why they included this little handle there for you to pull, so it's a lot easier. Now, just a little bit about the case it comes in. It's like a faux leather case. It's got a lid. It fits everything else in there, which is quite nice. They give you different types of caps to go on different things on your filter, and that can just live, I guess, wherever you want it. Now, they also send you, at least they sent me, one of these, which is a mist filter that goes with it in this quite nice little pouch. You pull the little string and then out comes your mist filter. Now, this is a really cool way of showing off how this lens works. Lens filter, I should say. You basically just get your combined filter on top of the lens. You've got your mist filter, clicks on top just like the lens cap. So now you have an NDCPL mist all in one, and it's only that big, which is pretty cool. Now, if you don't know what a mist filter is, every single person and their dog has been using a mist filter lately, so I haven't had too much need for it, but you basically just put it over your lens. This is an 82mm one for my magnetic FREEWELL filter, so it's not going to fit on the lens that I'm recording on right now, but you might be able to see a little bit more halation in the background, so that any lights and highlights behind me might be a bit more softened. I'm not really sure if it's working because I haven't seen the footage, but I guess you will know. One thing I noticed about the FREEWELL filter set is that when you have your filter on the lens and you go to put your mist filter on your combined filter, fits perfectly, but then you can't really get your lens cap to fit perfectly. It's just a little bit too raised and it moves around a little bit, so I think that would fall off in a bag. So you'd probably have to keep your mist filter separate to it, unless it works with one of these other caps. Let me just try quickly for you. Alright, that doesn't do anything on there either. Let's try with the mist. Alright, mist filter is now on. Let's try with this. That's kind of working. Let's try this side. No, okay, so I'm officially not sure what that is. Maybe it's to cover, oh, I know. I do know, I lied to you. That is to go on the back. Like that. So you have your, without the mist filter. There we go. So, very strong, durable, anodized aluminium package of multi-filters there, all in one, which is quite nice. It just doesn't fit the mist filter. I wish they made that work. Everything else about it works really good though. So, I'd say out of 10, I'm not sure what I'm really rating this on a scale of, but I'm just going to say it's a good 9.2, I'm going to say. This is going to be the most vague scale, and we're going to use that from now on. Alright, so that has been my little review and my experience with the NDCPL filter from FREEWELL. Awesome filter. I've actually used it, as I said, for pretty much everything in terms of filming for the last month or so. Love it. I don't see it leaving my camera lens. I would highly recommend it for anyone who's going to be doing landscape photography or just content creation in general like I am and needs something for outdoor controlling of shutter speed and exposure and things like that, while also adding a bit of polarization to the background. I think it's pretty cool. With the mist filter again, I'm not really a mist filter user too much. A lot of people do use mist filters now, so that might be something you want to include as well when you get that from FREEWELL. Also, I should mention that the link for this product is in my description. FREEWELL didn't ask me to put it there. It's not going to give me any commission. Also, because this is like my, I don't know, 9th long form video I've ever made in my entire life, I'd appreciate any feedback about audio or music or what I'm saying. Maybe you don't like my background. Whatever it is, I'll look at it and probably take it in as feedback, unless you're really, really mean. Anyway, catch you in the next one.